Okay, so welcome. We are going to go over a review together. I'm going to share my screen so you can get where we need to be. So the first thing that we're going to do, did I share the right screen? Can y'all see the Schoology? Yeah, okay. And we've got 2 more people that just popped in. Let me get on here so I can see all the faces. All the faces. There we go. All right, so we're going to get on Schoology. And again, remember that everything is listed by date so that you guys can get into the right spot. Okay, and let me open up my chat too so I can see if we have anybody waiting. Okay, so you're in the materials page. We have our quick buttons. Please make sure that you're doing everything for algebra for the week. So I added this little checklist to help remind you to go check in each of those folders and get that work accomplished. Today is the 21st, so you're going to be in now week 3. I'm always putting the most current thing at the very tip top. And we're going to open up week 3 by either clicking on the link or clicking on the arrow to the side. Today is Monday, so all that you should see in yours is this Monday assignment from the student view. And here we are again. You've started your class on Zoom, so you don't have to click. So you don't have to click in there. And then we also have our supplemental aid. And so as we start going through, more of these things will make sense. But all we're doing for this unit right now is the shape, circle, box, triangle for combining like terms, and the rainbows. And then we're going to go next. And this is a PDF of the review that we're going to be doing. If you want to print it out and have it on paper, you're welcome to do that. But you're also going to need to put in your answers on Schoology so that we can have that. Remember that you are getting graded for your work. So it is important that you put your answers on Schoology. That first week caught some of you unaware. You're thinking like it was at the end of last year, where if you just kind of show up, you're going to pass. Remember that we are now doing our work for accuracy to get those good grades. All right. Next time you come to algebra, you are going to take a test, okay? And it will be test day. For you guys, it'll be Wednesday, okay? The assessment looks just like the review. So if you can do the review that we're going to do together and that you're going to do on your own, if you can do well on those, the test should be super easy for you, okay? You will only be able to take the assessment 1 time. Our daily work is different. You guys can retake it until you get a grade that you like. The assessment you take once. The test will be available starting tomorrow afternoon, and it is due by Thursday at midnight. There is no late extension for this because we're giving you a huge window. You need to get it done within that window. I am going to be on Zoom for the first 10 minutes of algebra class on Wednesday and Thursday, so that if you need help getting started, like how to get into Schoology, I can help you with that. But you guys do not need to come to Zoom if you know that you're doing your test. It might be a good habit just to show up and I'll be like, guys, it's test day, go take your test, okay? So that's what we're doing next time. So we are gonna do this first one together. It says Unit 1 review together on Zoom. So at this time, please make sure that you have your pencil or pen, whatever you're gonna write with, and your notebook or your paper so that you can copy these down, okay? That's how we show our work. That's how we get to do what we need to do. And again, this is in Monday's assignment. We're going through our list, okay? So we're right here, all the way down here. Let me switch over to my iPad, and we're gonna have Miss McLeod get us started. Move you guys over and turn on mirroring. Move the chat and the participants. Okay, here we go. So here's our first question, Miss McLeod. Let's give them a minute to write it down. And then if you would go over this with them. We can also ask them questions as we're working in chat to see if they're following, kind of like we would if we were live and in person. that might be a good way to get everyone a little bit more involved and see if they know what's going on without just giving them answers.
Okay. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to get it written down.
And let me ask you guys, can you see the chat whenever I pull it back over into this other screen, or is it just showing the iPad?
It just shows the iPad.
Awesome. Okay, then I'm going to leave this up front so I can see if they have comments. It feels weird. All right, I think we're ready, Miss McLeod.
All right, so -7 parentheses 4 plus 2x. So on our last lesson that we did last week, whenever you have a number outside of the parentheses like that, remember that's whenever you distribute and use the rainbow, and you're going to be using multiplication. So first, -7 times 4 gives you what? You can just type it in the chat really quick.
And if you need help, you guys are welcome to use Desmos. And if you're actually on Schoology, Desmos is under there and you can just type it in.
Okay, I see people. So Jacob, I see, and Zoe. So Zoe is correct. It's going to be a -28 because it's negative times positive. So -28. And then you'll do -7 times positive 2x. And what would that give you? -7 times positive 2x. You can type it in the chat. Okay, good. So Jacob, Haley, Zoe, don't forget to put your x with it as well, though. So it'd be a -14x. So the way that you would write it is just -14x. Good. But if you're looking at the answer and how you're going to be typing it in, you see that there's an x first. So you're going to have to just switch those terms around. The -14x would be typed in first. And then it has a plus, but you can just type in a -28 in the next spot, and that would represent that. Are there any questions on that?
We good? Use your reaction buttons if you need to so that we can see that you're following, or type in the word good so we can see what's going on. Oh, I got a body in the waiting room. There we go.
All right.
Put her over here too.
Good.
All right. Awesome. All right, Mr. Leal, I think you were the next question,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Here we go. Let's give them a moment to write it down. And middle, okay. So as we're going through these, if you're, oh, I'm frozen.
Yeah.
I'm frozen. Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm gonna stop the share real quick and see if I can reshare. Let's see if that'll unfreeze it. Let's see. Maybe it had a problem with me interacting with Zoom and then coming back. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, now you can try writing it down. All right. Mr. Leal, you want to go ahead and get started talking about this one?
Yes, ma'am. So for this one, doesn't it looks familiar, doesn't it? It looks like the warm-up that we did last week with those two parentheses. So does anybody remember what do we do if there was nothing in front of the parentheses? Type in chat. Know the answer.
The shape thing. Yeah, we're
Well,
going to do shape thing, but not just yet.
yeah. So put it, yeah, for this one, if there's nothing in front of the parentheses, you don't need the parentheses. So you can just rewrite the whole thing without it.
Okay, so there is actually something in front of the parentheses though coming up right here.
Yeah, for the first one. And for the
Okay.
second one, it has a negative. So then you would then distribute that negative to the other ones.
So we can think about it
Inside.
like a -1 out front.
Mhm.
All right. So you guys write down these notes. There we go.
And what would be the first part of that for that -1 times 5x?
So I think Mr. Liao's wanting you guys to write the answer in the chat. -1 times 5x. Good, Karen.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, more people. There we go, Zoe. Good
There we
job.
go.
There we go. Don't forget your negative
forget-
because that's a
yeah.
-1.
The negative changes.
Very good. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go
And
ahead and
then-
copy down.
Right, and then for that next part, it'll be a -1 times -6. So what would that answer be? Can you write down in the chat? What do you think? Yep.
Watch signs.
Right.
Okay, so we need to watch
careful.
signs.
Yeah, because when it's a negative times a negative, they cancel each other out, which you will see on Desmos. So it just
So-
uses.
Yeah, you guys can scroll down, but since my thing is just a picture, a -1 times a -6 is going to give you a positive. And Mr. Liao, would you repeat the rule for them so that they can see that?
Yeah, if you have a negative times a negative, it will cancel each other out, and that would be a positive.
All right, now we're ready. Somebody said earlier that we're going to do the shape thing. So Mr. Liao, keep going.
Yeah, and then at this point, you just remember like terms, so just circle or square shape in the chat, or what the x's are the other ones.
So let's-
you
Let's do 2x in a circle, and then they can tell you what the next one is in the chat.
what is the next thing you circle in the equation?
All right, I see one
Thank
person,
you.
2, 3. All right, it's starting
And
to
then
roll
more
in.
answers coming in.
All right, Mr. Leal, do you see how they're including that negative in front? That's awesome.
Yes.
You guys did great. Thank you. All right, keep going. Or do we want to go ahead and put those together?
Why don't we put them together since we're already here?
Okay.
Yeah. So then you get 2x, and then that would minus 5x. What would you get? What's the answer be? If you added those two
You have
together,
two x's, and we're going to take 5 away.
5 away.
And remember, if you're on this with me, you guys can type into Desmos. You can type in, and we don't type the x's in, remember, just the coefficients, 2 minus 5.
Minus 5.
And if you need to, remember there's also that Desmos quick button at the top of my page that you guys can open that up if you're not in the assessment. All right, Mr. Leal, I see it.
Negative
in the
3,
chat.
yes.
Very nice. All right, so we've got,
Negative 3. Don't forget about that x. And then the last part of it, you would need to square or shape the last two parts. Would be negative 3 and 6.
okay,
Plus 6.
and put those together. And remember, if you need your Desmos, that's absolutely fine. If you're not sure if your answer is supposed to be a positive or negative, or if you're supposed to add or subtract, go type it in.
Yep, I see some people typed in chat already.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, here, let me write this. So this is what you see on Desmos. So what are we missing? And
What symbol?
if you saw what I wrote, I already kind of gave it away. So what's missing right here? What kind of answer did we get when we did the negative 3 plus 6? There it is, positive.
There we go. I see people come positive plus.
So this number doesn't have a sign in front of it. So you know that if it doesn't have a sign in front of it, it's going to be a positive, and that's why that goes there. All right, last part, let's plug it in. Make a
The
note
boxes.
if you're not doing this actually on the assessment with us so that you know what to type. All right, so what goes in the box? Negative is right there, 3. And then X is already there, so don't type in an X.
And positive is already there.
And then our 3. So we're typing everything in. All right, so that is the next question and what you would type. All right, my turn. So this one, are you scared? Everybody go in the chat. Tell me if you're scared.
That's what I thought.
All right, so we have it both ways.
Pretty
All right.
even, yeah.
So we're going to take it one step at a time. We're not going to be intimidated by those fractions. I always tell kids this is the perfect time of year for this because it's getting close to October. So I'm going to dress as a fraction for Halloween because that's the scariest thing I can think of for you guys. All right, so here we go.
I can think of something scary, but yes.
We have right here the parentheses. So in the chat, go out in the parentheses and go in the chat and tell me what the parentheses mean when that number is right next to the parentheses. What are we going to do? What operation? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Good, 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 good. So every time we go across this, remember we're going to multiply, and a lot of you guys like to say times, all right? Now you have a calculator, so we're going to use it. So when I multiply this first number times the Q, what number is invisible hiding out in front of the Q? Everybody go type it in the chat. The number hiding out in front of the Q. Yes, y'all were fast on that one. Good. 1. So anything times 1.
Nothing's loading for me.
I'm sorry. I think Mary was breaking up. Mary, you can type it in the chat and I can.
Nothing's loading for me.
Nothing's loading. Okay, so what you're going to want to do right now is just write it down with pen and paper or pencil and paper and then come back and try to do it, okay? Can you see the screen that we're on? Okay, I'm recording this session, Mary, also, so that you can watch it later and you can try to do it then if your screen is frozen, okay? All right, so anything times 1 is just itself, but if you don't believe me, we can go to Desmos and we can type in, I'm gonna delete that one, 1/4, and then to type in 1/4, that division is how we get the fraction bar. 1/4, and then go out to the side times 1, okay? Now, there is a button, oh, can y'all see that right here, my mouse? Right here, that will change it to a fraction for you. In algebra, we like fractions, okay? So we need our fractions. So we have 1/4. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna type in, we're gonna write it out to the side, 1/4, and then that was a Q. All right, now we're gonna do our next rainbow. Our next rainbow is gonna be back to 1/4 again, 1/4 times, and is that just a 12 or is it something different? Type in the chat, we're multiplying 1/4 times what? Good, good. Don't forget that negative, 1/4 times -12. So we're gonna go back to Desmos and we're not gonna freak out. We're gonna change that to say 1/4 times 12. And then I'm gonna make it a negative so that I don't forget what I was just telling y'all not to forget. 1/4 times a -12 is -3, and that actually came out really nice. So we're gonna have a -3, okay? And then I have a plus sign right here. And I'm just gonna carry that over right here. And that plus sign is gonna tell you that this is a positive, okay? So we're gonna do a positive 1/3 times Q. And so we did the same thing as before. That's just gonna be 1/3 Q. Remember that when you multiply numbers and letters, you just put them side by side. And then we're gonna go type in on our Desmos, the next part, the 1/3 times 9. And you guys have it on the same screen, so it shouldn't be that bad. 1/3 on your, no ma'am, I need that. On your, sorry, I was talking to my daughter. So on your Desmos, okay, what button is gonna give me the fraction bar? Everybody go in chat and tell me what button's gonna give me that fraction bar. I said it earlier, let's see if y'all remember. I'll give you a hint. It's either add, subtract, multiply, or divide. How do we get that fraction bar? Good. Yes, it's going to be division, division. There is no button that says fraction. You have to know it's the divide. All right, now look at this answer right here, this decimal. This decimal is not allowed. So we're going to hit out to the side that button in the circle, and that's going to turn it into a fraction for us, okay? So 1/3 times, and then what did I say? 1/3 times what? It was a 9, is that right? Oh my goodness. Yes, 1/3 times 9. So 1/3 times 9 gives us, again, it comes out nice and pretty, a 3. And it won't always come out that nice. And then we know that 3 is positive because there was no negative in front of it. And now we're going to go put these together with our circles, boxes, and triangles. So we're going to put these together. So we have 1/4 q plus 1/3 q. Remember that when you go to Desmos, you cannot type in the q, you only type in the coefficients. So I'm going to type in 1/4 plus 1/3. And if you have Desmos with me, that's going to help you. 1/4, and then we're going to add it to, ooh, did y'all see that was weird? I got to get out of the fraction, plus 1/3. Oh, and my Desmos, there we go, is taking a while to get in there. All right. Now, do y'all remember what button I need to press or where the button is to change that back to a fraction? Type it in the chat if you remember. Okay, so no, on the side. Yeah, it's on the side. It's right here in this blue area right here. And if you look really close, it actually kind of looks, yeah, the circle, that's right, you hit that circle. It actually looks like a fraction because it's got a number on top, a number on bottom with that line in the middle. So we're going to hit that button and it's going to change it to a fraction for us, okay? Decimals that don't stop are not allowed in algebra. Algebra is about being precise and exact, okay? So we've got 7/12. So we're going to change that to 7, and I'm going to write it out here to the side. 7/12 q. And when you write that q, it needs to be either on the top or in the middle. Either place is fine. At the bottom is not okay. That means something totally different. All right, now we're going to do the next one. Let me get a new color here. We have a -3 and a +3. In the chat, tell me what you get when you do a -3 and a +3. Good. One person knows. So you have a -3 and a +3, and we end up with, very good, 0. So I'm going to go ahead and write +0. In our final answer, do we have to say +0? And the answer is going to be no. You don't have to say that part, because if you're adding nothing, you don't have to say you're adding nothing. You just don't put anything there. So in the box, we need to write 7/12 cubed. So we have 7/12, and then our q is already outside of the box, okay? So no decimals for this one. We keep it as a fraction, and we use that slash. All right, so that is number 3. All right, Ms. McLeod, do you want to do this one? This is our next one.
Sure. All right, I'll give you guys a minute to write it down.
All right, I think we're ready.
Okay, so 9x minus 2 plus 5 parentheses 8 minus x. So if you guys think back to order of operations, we're going to have to do our parentheses first. So that first part, 9x minus 2, I'm just going to rewrite it as is. And then the 5 we have to distribute inside of the parentheses by multiplying. So positive 5 times positive 8 gives you what? You can type it in the chat really quick. Okay, Zoe, good, 40. And since it's a positive, we're gonna have that plus sign to connect it, plus 40. Now we gotta distribute the 5 to the negative x. So 5 times negative x, what is that gonna be? Again, type it in the chat really quick.
All right,
Good,
so
I
I'm seeing
see
positives
some
and
mixed
negatives.
answers here. Yeah, so negatives and positives. It will be negative because it's a positive times a negative. So you're gonna have a minus 5x to represent that negative. Yes.
Oh, it's loading. It's slow, but it's there. Where is it? There it goes.
There it
There we
is.
go. There we
I
go.
wrote it, I promise.
All right, now this looks like something we did in the first week. What are we gonna do next? Yeah, shapes, and I know exactly what you mean. Okay, so let's go ahead and put, I guess, circles. Yeah, circles and boxes. Let's circle all the x's. So we have the 9x minus 5x. And then we can put our squares around the minus 2 plus 40. All right, so now we can combine our like terms. So 9x minus 5x. What is that going to give us? Type it in the chat. Good. What?
I was showing them like.
Oh. Good, 4x. And then our squares, we have a negative 2 plus 40. What is negative 2 plus 40?
And you guys are welcome to use Desmos if you need it. Or you can use a number line, or you can count, or if you're good with your integer rules. There we go.
38. Good, and that will be a positive 38, so you'll connect it with the plus sign. Good. So because we have our x in the beginning of that answer, we'll just put our 4 inside that box. And we already have our plus sign, so the 38 will go in the second box.
All right, are we feeling better about these things in the chat? Good, or bad? Go type in how you're feeling. Are you feeling like you're getting it? It's coming together? Okay, thank you for the reaction button. Okay, so the thing that's gonna turn the S into goods and yeses is more practice, okay? And that's what you're gonna do. If you're still not getting it, remember that you guys can come see during enrichment. The morning enrichments are actually a little bit better, and they'll start at 9. Okay.
Always happy to help.
All right. Let's see the next one. I think Mr. Liel, is this the one? Yeah, this is the one that you were gonna do. All right.
This question is wordy, so I'll take a minute to write it down or to read it. So
Find the perimeter of a square that has side lengths of 5 less than 2
less than
times a
2
number.
times a number.
And this is
Yeah.
one where
Mhm.
when there's no picture, it really helps to draw. Okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna draw it out.
I was about to say that too.
Awesome. So I'm gonna draw it.
Draw a square. Remember what shape you're drawing, so shape you're using, and then it says 5 less than 2 times a number. So write in chat. We're clicking what do you think that expression or equation will be?
Miss McLeod is actually going to walk you through a lesson that is videoed about reminding you about more of these things. So the next thing to do after our review together is actually to go look at the translating expressions. And so you're going to hear Miss McLeod's voice walk you through that. Okay, so that'll help. And this is one that's very tricky because of this.
Of the less than. Yes. I mean, they got the right numbers, but not,
Okay, and when it says less than, that's different than when it says is less than. Is less than gives you the inequality, but if it just says less than, they're talking about subtract. All right, Mr. Leal, we're ready to keep moving. Tell them what's next.
So I'll do the first part for 5 less than. Since it's beginning, it'll just have to put it, that would be less than, would just be a negative. So it'll be -5. And then the next part, well, you already know that is 2 times the number. So just put the 2 times at the end.
We're color coding so they can see where it's coming from.
Oh, the beginning, yeah. Works too.
So the less than's really tricky. They switch places when you see that than. Than is a keyword telling you that you're taking it away from. So it's the second part. All right, keep going.
And then it says, well, before that, beginning of that, it says has a side length. So that's just one side of the square. And since that's one side of the square, you need to find the perimeter. And chat, what is the perimeter? What is that through definition of perimeter to you?
So in the chat, go say what perimeter is. What does perimeter mean? See if that helps you. There we go.
Yeah.
Zoe's got it.
Yeah, add all of the sides.
All right, so
And
I got a
since you-
problem. Mr. Leal, it sounds like you're about to tell me all about my problem.
Yeah, since you have one side of it already, and we know that that side, we know that a square has all the sides are equal. So just think of it as a problem. Yeah, you just add up all of it like that, every other side.
All right, so we're gonna switch to our shapes so that we can combine all the things that are alike. So let's put all of our X's together. In the chat, type what you get for your X's. What's the total? How many X's do we have all together when you add all those up? Yes.
X.
All right, good. And then the next
And then
one.
you do the same thing for the -5s. And I'm all together.
All right, so in the chat, do the same thing. Go put what you get when you put those -5s together.
Right. -20.
All right, now let's put it in the boxes the right way. What do we need in the boxes? So in the box, you need an 8 that goes in front of that X. So we have an 8, we have an X, and then we have a minus, but it says plus. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that out to the side like this. Adding a negative is the same as saying subtract mathematically, okay? And I see over in the boxes, over in the chat, a lot of you are writing those answers. Thank you for participating. That's going to help you be successful.
Okay, also, there was another way to do in this. It's with the distributive property.
Yes. Would you like to touch on that?
Yeah, I'll just do the beginning of how to set it up. Since you have one side of 2x minus 5, and there's 4 of them, so you can just put a 4 right up front, and then parentheses 2x minus 5. You can do it that way too if you like. So.
And that's exactly right. So that's a different way to do the exact same question with your rainbows, with your distribution. So 4 times 2x is going to be 8x. That's the same thing that we got. And then 4 times the -5 is still a -20. So good connection, Mr. Liao. Thank you.
Whatever way you do it, make sure you show your work.
All right, so this one's a little bit different. You're not going to have one like this on your test, but I just wanted to kind of flex your brain just a little bit. This one tells you that the perimeter is. That means the total is that big number, and then we're going to have to break it apart if we want to find a side length. So this one says, and it says a square rug. So when I add up all of these numbers for my x's, my x pieces, I'm going to get 36. So let's see if we can think about that. If I break up 36 into 4 pieces, what is it going to be? What is each piece going to be? So we want to break up 36 into 4 pieces. Yeah. So the x piece is going to be 9. I see a bunch of those in the chat now. Good. So that means we're going to have 9 x's. Okay, and let's go check. So the perimeter going all the way around the rim is 36 x's now. We're adding those all together, okay? And then the next one, this one's gonna be a little bit harder because it doesn't come out perfect. It's gonna be something different. This -54, if I wanna split up 54, -54 into 4 pieces, what operation am I gonna use? Am I gonna use add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Type that in the chat. I want to cut -54 into 4 equal pieces. Good. So I'm going to divide it by 4, and our answer is right here. Since that is a terminating means stopping decimal, I can use that decimal. If you want to feel crazy and use a fraction, you can also use that fraction, okay? What would y'all prefer in the chat, fraction or decimal? What would y'all prefer to use? Either one is correct. The decimal? Okay. Yeah,
Decimal.
I figured. Decimals seem a little bit more friendly. So -13.5 is going to be what's next in our box. Right here. -13.5. And I can check myself by adding those back together and seeing if I get, oh, yeah, and seeing if I get that -54, and I will. So it says, what is the side length? So just one side would be right here. And so your answer for this question that you can type in is going to be 9 x's. And then again, it has a plus sign, and we need a minus. So we're going to put a -13.5. Adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting. All right, and we've done that one together. All right, so we did 6 questions to review you for your test. You guys are going to, let me get in and do a new share. Let me move you guys over real quick. You guys are going to get in and do the activity translating words, and this is super quick. Ms. McLeod made this super quick for you guys, and then do the review on your own. Please remember that I am giving you grades for what we do. So if you do not do this, you will be getting a 0. So please make sure that you do this. I am recording this session, so I am going to, after I set you guys free, see if I can get it posted so that if you want to rewatch anything, you can. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the record if I can. Stop.